My channels wake up or else. I have not posted in a long time, and I'm just making this recording today to reach out to those of you who have experienced what I have, which is you found out crazy things about the world that you never thought were possible or ever thought came into your mind. And then you're like, oh man, this is real. And then all the people around you are like, no, it's not real. And you're crazy. So I'm just right off the top, I'm asking everybody that's watching this that's ever felt isolated or rejected, you've been called a conspiracy theorist, kook, fringe, tinfoil hat, trafficking in the dark corners of the internet, living in your mom's basement. You're insecure, and so you gravitate towards these types of things because it makes you feel better. You're living in fear. You're obsessed. You are deceived. You're a false prophet. You're out of balance. You're a threat to your children. Please shut up. Please go away. That kind of thing. So if you've experienced that from family, friends, especially your spouse, and especially if you have come into the knowledge that, I don't know, pick a creepy, freaky topic, you know, or you found out the Mandela effect, or you found out the Mandela effect. Dissolving. And I got issues. My wife has issues. I don't know if they're enough to make us separate, but one thing I know is that the fact that I have seen these things has caused an immense chasm between us. And I really do believe, and I want to make a video called The Sins of Conspiracy Theorists, that I did get out of balance. Maybe I said too much to my kids. It was age inappropriate, thinking, you know, they need to be prepared or whatever. I get it. Or, you know, I spent too much time looking into these things and neglected my family. Or I lost my joy. It became an obsession. Okay. It became an obsession. Okay. It became an obsession. Okay. Guilty. A lot of you have the same experience. You're on the same journey. And then, or something triggered your entry into the rabbit hole. And then you said to yourself, well, if that's not true, then what else isn't true? And down you went into the abyss of finding out that you live in the Truman Show. And this journey that you went on has caused a divide between you and your spouse, or you and your loved ones. They don't talk to you anymore. You've been divorced. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I am experiencing this myself. I live in my brother's apartment, not in my house. And again, you know, we both have other issues, but this one is a doozy. This one is smack dab in the middle of the big white elephant in the room. I'll give you an example. My wife keeps bringing up the fact that one day I got up and walked out of church. That one day I got up and walked out of church. That one day I got up and walked out of church. You abandoned us in church. And that was very hard for me to go back to church. Well, that was because I had approached the pastors at that point about 3 times with all of these Mandela effect examples, and it was just like boing, just bounces off of them like I have 2 heads, you know. So then one of the assistant pastors is preaching, and he's quoting James, and he says, he's quoting it from the front of the room, and he says, Do not be a hearer of the word only, but be a doer of the work. W-O-R-K. I'm sorry, but that's not what I remember. And I subsequently found several residual examples quoted from the King James Bible in these old prayer books from like the late 1800s online, where it clearly said, don't be a hearer of the word only, but be a doer of the word. W-O-R-D. So the guy says doer of the work, and I look around and nobody's flinching. Nobody's saying, wait a minute, you misquoted. You know how people are with the word. It's got to be, honored and protected. Nobody says anything. At this point, I'm so troubled and disturbed by the fact that the universe is unraveling. That one day I got up and walked out of church. Whatever, I couldn't take it. And I got up and walked out. Whatever, I couldn't take it. And I got up and walked out. Whatever, I couldn't take it. And I got up and walked out. Whatever, I couldn't take it. And I got up and walked out. And we had 2 cars that day, so I left. And I get it. My wife felt abandoned, but I felt abandoned. I've gotten a very different reaction. The reaction that I've gotten is to be shamed into silence. It is to be subtly pushed out from the family system and to be isolated as a disturbed person, to the point where I had an intervention. I came home and the pastor, the assistant pastor, and the mother of the church, everybody's got that church mom, they're sitting in my sunroom, and they're trying to reach me. They're trying to reach me. They're trying to reach me. So what's your experience been? If you would, put it in the chat, please. Put in the chat what your experience has been, because hopefully I can share that with my spouse and show that, in fact, this divide between us may have something to do with her, because in her mind it's all me. I've gone off the rails. I'm a threat to the kids and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, maybe it's just that you're triggered by the fact that these things might be true, because, she's listened to me a couple times, and then, that's pretty disturbing. So I'm just going to, instead of, opening my heart and my mind to my spouse and having compassion for them to see if maybe there's any validity to what they're saying, I'm going to demand that they be silent, and I'm going to basically threaten them in 100 different ways to shut up, shape up, toe the line, stop the foolishness, just live your life. What does it matter? What does it matter if the Mandela effect is real or any of these things? What does it matter? Well, you try finding out that these things are real. See if it matters to you. So if this resonates with you, please put in the chat your experience. I would really appreciate that. And I would love to see the experiences of other people who are seeing these things and are very open to dialogue, intelligent discourse with their loved ones, but we can't get those meetings. We don't get the opportunity. If we do, it's like this. Their arms are folded, their minds are closed, their hearts are hard. They're scowling. They listen to us with disdain, with suspicion. It goes in one ear, out the other. You know what it's like? I'm not ventilating. I'm ticked off, okay? I'm ticked off. I'm frustrated. I'm isolated. I'm scared. I am at the end of my rope. and I don't think that I will be married very much longer. I gave a solemn vow. Here's my ring. I finally took it off last night after 24 years. It's right here. Now, why is that? Why is that? Because you think what God has put together, let no man put asunder. But then this guy comes to Jesus and he says, oh, Lord, I want to follow you, but my father's on his deathbed. I really need to bury him. Let him die. And Jesus says, let the dead bury the dead. You follow me. So there's really two opposing views in the Bible. There's numerous scriptures like that. And I've really struggled with where my allegiance is. So when I go before God, is he going to be pleased with me if I chose to honor the truth and my allegiance to him over my allegiance to my wife? Now, obviously, you should try to maintain both. In other words, I have agreed to disagree. I have agreed to be silent. I don't talk to her or the children. We'll live in harmony, even though we have these vastly different worldviews, but it's not really possible anymore. Not with what's going on now, because now I'm not going to say what's going on, because if I do, this channel will be taken down. You know what I'm talking about with the monkey juice. To say, anyway, whatever. So I have to pick an allegiance. So I have to pick an allegiance. So I have to pick an allegiance. And I'm going to get all kinds of comments about that. And I get it. God first, family second. But I got 4 kids, and this is a mess. This is really a nightmare. And a lot of you are dealing with the same thing, and I need to hear from you. So if you would, put it in the chat, because I'd appreciate it. And I do plan to do some more videos on this, because I feel like God wants me to do that. Just be a voice.